Hello everybody, welcome to my planty channel. If you're new here, my name is Grace. Today we're going to be doing what I think is going to be a really fun video. I am going to be sharing my plant wish list with you, and just kind of a disclaimer, my plant wish list is not like I would say most people's plant wish lists are. Pretty much all of the plant wish list videos that I've seen, they narrow down their wish list to like this is my 2024 wish list, and it's like 5 to 10 plants that they want to actually try to focus on getting that year. My wish list is not like that. My wish list is more of like an all-time wish list. Me personally, I'm not like actively going out and looking for these plants or like actively like trying to find them online or anything. This is not like, these are all the plants that I want to buy this year. Not even in the slightest, because I am like well aware how large my collection already is for the amount of space that I have in my room. So the way that my wish list works is I only allow myself to purchase plants if they are already on the wish list. And that is how I try to keep my collection kind of like narrowed down. Instead of just like going to the store and seeing a random begonia that I think is pretty and just buying it, I like have like a hard rule for myself that I won't buy anything unless it is specifically already written on my wish list. I mean, granted, there are like a few times where I come across a new Hoya that I really think is cool, but typically I won't actually buy it. I'll just put it on the wish list and then wait until the next time that I see it, because I try to not be like an impulse buyer when it comes to plants, even though sometimes I do fail. But like this list kind of helps me combat that impulsive plant buying, hoarding thing. With that being said, I might get 5 of these off my list this year. I might get 10 of them, I might get 1. I've actually already managed to cross 1 off of my list this year. I found a Philodendron species Columbia little baby for $5. That is more of my type of plant shopping, is if I come across it and it's affordable and it's on the list, then I will purchase it. Just because this list is so long and I already have so many plants, I really just wanted to like put a disclaimer out there as to like, I am not trying to buy all of these plants this year. This isn't like a 2024 wish list. This is like an all-time wish list. Like, there's plants on there that I know would never fit in my room. Like, I could not have like a full-sized Monstera Tycon in my room with the size that it is. Like, it's on the wish list because I'm already planning for the plants that I want to have when I like own a house and I like have a plant room that I can put it in. Also, I thought it would be really fun if you could actually like read along the list with me. So in the description is a link to my entire plant wish list on Google Drive. So you can just like go check in on it whenever if you're curious if I have gotten to cross some plants off the wish list this year, and I'll just like go in and strike them out if I've gotten them or not. And yeah, I just thought that would be kind of like a fun little somewhat interactive experience. So with that being said, I'm going to try to not talk about each plant too much. There are some that I'm going to want to go a little bit more in depth with. I mean, some plants on here are very common. Some plants on here I have come across so many times and I just haven't bought them, not because they're expensive or anything, but just because even though it's a plant that I want, I don't necessarily need it at the moment. So yeah, my list is very versatile. By the way, my list is completely organized in alphabetical order, and I did it myself. I am not obsessive when it comes to list making. I would just say I enjoy making lists a lot, and I'm very thorough. I had to print it out very, very small print because I didn't want to take up more than 1 page. But this is what we're looking like right now. There's my Philodendron species Columbia crossed off. By the way, I don't know if you saw that. There is a total of 66 plants. So let's jump right in. First is a variegated African violet Harmony's love bug. I've wanted a variegated African violet for a while, and then I saw this specific one with these blooms, and I just think that they're so pretty and adorable. There's several variegated African violet blooms that I like, but I don't want to have like a whole bunch of them in my collection just for different colored blooms. So I figured I like this one the most, that I'll just put one on the list and see how I do with it. Okay, next is Alocasia. This one I have seen recently in, I think, a couple big box stores. I think I've seen people on Facebook finding them in like Home Depot. It's Alocasia and Toro Velvet. I've heard that this one can be a little harder to take care of, so it's not like on the tippy top of my list of like alocasias that I really want. But I do really love dark black foliage. I'm a sucker, especially for like velvety foliage, plus it being dark foliage. It's just like the perfect combo for me, and I just love the shape of the leaf. Compared to like Alocasia Black Velvet, I'm not the biggest fan of the look of Alocasia Black Velvet, just like the shape of the leaf, and also it just like, I've heard more stories of them being harder to keep alive than not. I haven't seen as many people complaining about that one being hard to care for as I have the Black Velvet, so I prefer the Toro Velvet. Next is Alocasia Dragon's Breath, and I really like this one. It, for some reason, reminds me it for some reason reminds me of the Skyrim dragons, like their head shape. I don't know, I really love this Alocasia. I just think that the shape of the leaves is so cool looking. It's like, I don't know, it just reminds me of like medieval times for some reason, but I don't know, I think this one's really cool. And next is Alocasia Dragon Scale. Pretty much when I think of an Alocasia, I picture Alocasia Dragon Scale. I feel like it's such a staple in most people's collections, and it's always just so gorgeous, and I hear that it's not hard to take care of and keep alive. It just gets such big leaves on it, and I love the texture of it, the silvery color. It's just, yeah. Next is Alocasia Mellow. I personally prefer the look of the Mellow to the Maharani. I will say I haven't ever seen either of them in person, so if I did get to see like an in-person comparison, my mind might change. The Maharani is, the parentage is Mellow and Black Velvet. The Mellow is just, it's so like, it just looks like rough to the touch and just like pillowy, and I don't know, I really love the texture of a Mellow, and the color is so pretty, and just the leaf shape, like everything about it, I just think it's really cool. And I'm also gonna be saying that about like every plant, because I don't know how to like end off me talking about each plant aside from like, it's really cool. And the last Alocasia on the list is Alocasia Tanderusa. This one honestly kind of reminds me of like, kind of like an antler shape, maybe? Yeah, I don't know. It is such a bizarre looking Alocasia. It's like, just the shape of the leaves is so wild. Like, I don't think I've ever seen any Alocasia have just like such a off-the-wall shape compared to, because like normally Alocasias are like generally round or oval-ish shaped, and this one is just like crazy looking. It's like so alien looking, I don't know, but another one that would not fit in my room right now. And next is my only anthurium on this list. Currently, I am not an anthurium girly because they scare me. If I like allowed myself into the anthurium world, I could become very obsessed. By the way, the only one on my list is an Anthurium pallidiflorum, I am really taken by the super long strappy leaves. I mean, it's really kind of insane. They can like get as long as I am tall. Like they can get so big. They just are the prettiest shade of green and they look like they'd be so soft. But yeah, like I said, am a little afraid of Anthurium. They just intimidate me. I feel like if I got one, I would kill it. And to be fair, I haven't killed a plant in a really long time, so like maybe that's not true. Maybe I'm just kind of being too hard on myself. I totally could see myself getting really sucked into the Anthurium world though, and really like obsessive with all of the hybrids and the crosses. Like there are so many crosses of Anthurium that I would have no idea like where to even dip my toe into the world of Anthurium crosses. If I ever like got brave enough to try Anthurium, which I'm sure someday I will once I get my own place and I like have more room for, because Anthurium get quite large, have more room for bigger plants, that I will try Anthurium eventually. But I'm also a little afraid too, because I could see it being a new like plant world for me to like dive into, just like a new obsession, and I don't have space for a new obsession when it comes to plants, and I don't want to currently have to get rid of any of my plants in order to make room for that new obsession. So I'm kind of just being very standoffish and ignoring the fact that Anthurium exists, because I can see myself going way too overboard with Anthurium. Next is Begonia Amphioxus. I don't really have a ton to say about this one. It's been on my list for a really long time. I think it was actually on my list before Begonia maculata even was. Next is Begonia Autumn Ember. I am a big sucker for orange foliage. I didn't know how much of an orange fan I was until I started collecting plants. I really just am drawn to like bright orange, like brassy, bronzy, coppery foliage. And I feel like Autumn Ember just like completely encapsulates that. I know that there are a lot of people out there that aren't a fan of orange foliage, but for me, this begonia is just like the it girl. Next is Begonia Autumn Twist. It is very similar to my, I think it's kind of like a combination of my Begonia Zumba and my Begonia Eyelash. I think it's kind of very similar to those, but I like the shape of the leaves. I like the way that it sun stresses. I like the colors. Pretty much all there is to it. Next is Begonia Hallows Eve. I actually had a Begonia Black Mamba. It was a single leaf cutting and it did not do anything. I was so sad. It just rotted and I never did get it to propagate properly. And Begonia Black Mamba has like the center of the leaf has a little bit of like a whitish green, kind of like starburst look almost. And when I was looking at like different black begonia leaves, I found Begonia Hallows Eve and I actually liked it way more, so I wasn't like too upset that my Black Mamba didn't work out. Next is Begonia Hieroglyphics from Steve's Leaves, and this is probably, out of all the begonias on my list, this one's probably the top begonia. I think that it is just fantastic looking. It looks like it would sun stress really beautifully. I just love how simple the colors are, just the green and black. It would be the first green begonia in my collection, and I think it would just be a showstopper of a begonia. Next is Begonia Paulensis, I think it is pronounced. I found this one on Instagram and it is just so wild looking. It looks like a spider web. I don't know a lot about this begonia. I literally have only seen pictures of it on Instagram. I haven't even seen anybody own it, like on YouTube or anything. I haven't seen anybody have it in their collection. So I don't even know where I would acquire one of these. but maybe one day I'll be able to get my hands on one. Also, I am like very picky when it comes to plants. Even though I have this many, it might not seem like that, but I am like really actually very picky when it comes to what plants I am attracted to, and also how often my mind changes on that. Like, there are many times where I will like look at this list weekly and be like, what was I thinking? I don't even like the look of that. Why did I put that on the list? And I remember putting it on the list, and at the time I really liked it. So like this list is kind of forever changing. Actually, just now looking at it, there's one on here, Begonia Persian brocade or brocade, that I don't I don't really want on the list anymore because I already have one on there that looks like almost identical to it, like very similar, but I prefer that one over this one. So yeah, my list is forever changing, which I think would also be kind of a cool reason to have it linked down in the description so you can always see like the changes that I'm making to it. Next is black goldfish plant. This one I'm having a little bit of trouble trying to like determine the difference between just a normal goldfish goldfish plant and a black goldfish plant. When I Google like the difference though, I kind of can tell that the black goldfish plant has a bit darker of foliage, which I prefer. So for that reasoning, I just specified black goldfish plant. It could just be like a more sun-stressed version of it, or the genetics just produce a little bit darker foliage. I don't know. I think that the blooms are really, really adorable. I actually have a variegated goldfish plant that I want to bloom so bad this year. I'm really obsessed with the variegated one. I don't ever see people have a variegated goldfish plant, and I think they're so much cuter than just like the solid green one. Next is black pagoda lipstick plant, and hopefully specifically one with these colored blooms. I think that the foliage is super neat. It's not really like a webbing look, but like almost kind of like a leopard look, maybe, kinda. I just think that the pattern on the leaves is super cool. You get really gorgeous blooms from it, so it's like a win-win. And it's also kind of more common, and I think it's really easy to propagate too. So yeah, it's just a cool, easy plant. Next is a little category of cactuses. So first is a booby cactus, which I really think are super cute. Yeah, I mean, there's not much more for me to say other than just like look at it. It's adorable. It's a booby cactus. Next is a monkey tail cactus, which I would love to have a hanging pot someday of. Like, I just imagine a really beautiful, like a bay window with a monkey tail cactus hanging in it. It's just, like, it's just so fluffy and fuzzy, and just, they look like an actual monkey tail, like, coming out of the pot. It's just adorable. And yeah, if I had a south-facing window, I would have a monkey tail cactus popped in that window so fast. Next is a Peruvian old lady cactus. I have an old man of the Andes cactus. Actually, all of my cactuses live at my boyfriend's house. When I did my very first video, my plant tour, I meant to take videos of my cactuses that live at his house and include them in the video, but I completely forgot about it and didn't end up doing that. So on top of my plants here, I also have some that live at his house. He has a plant shelf set up that is like the spacing in between the shelf is taller than mine. I had to take all my cactuses to his house because my cactuses outgrew my shelf and they were just not getting enough light here, so he has like a really big south-facing window on top of a plant shelf that I could put mine in. And so I have a old man of the Andes cactus, and his name is Gandalf. I really want to get a Peruvian old lady cactus to go with it and name him Dumbledore. Now we are leaving the cactus category and moving on to Epipremnum. And the first one on my list is Epipremnum aureum Gisenia. I saw Plants by Melissa with her Gisenia Pothos on a pole, and it is stunning sized up. I want to get some Gisenia cuttings and put them on a pole so bad after seeing her plants. And actually the next plant on the list is an Epipremnum aureum mandula, because I saw another person on Reels, I will put their like Instagram here, I think it just came across my feed, had their mandula on a pole. And oh my gosh, just like, it's so pretty sized up. It's really funny because Gisenia and Mandula were both plants that I did not want. Looking at them the way that people normally grow them, just in a pot, I don't think that they're that pretty or like spectacular, but oh my gosh, when they're sized up, they're so gorgeous, so freaking cute, so pretty. It actually was the reason why I just put my neon pothos on a pole, because it just like inspired me. I've never seen a neon pothos on a pole like super duper sized up. I haven't like specifically gone and like Google searched or like searched on Instagram looking for one, but I kind of just want to find out myself like how beautiful they size up to be, because I'm sure it's going to be really pretty considering that the Gisenia looks gorgeous and the Mandula looks gorgeous, so I'm just very excited about it. And lastly is Epipremnum pinnatum skeleton key. I think that this one's like really cool looking, but like when they size up, they get that skeleton key look. And to me, it looks like a plant that's been like eaten on by like ants or something. I just think it's so cool looking. They would be really exciting to like start it from a really small cutting and grow it up a pole, and for it to like start getting that key shape and just like the excitement of that. It's like getting excited for seeing fenestrations finally happening, but like even better because it's like the leaf is like changing shape, like mutating almost. Next is our biggest category of the entire list. First one is Hoya australis lisa. Not like a major want for me. I think that the leaves are really, really beautiful. Wouldn't mind experimenting with like having a cutting of it or something, but it's not like major on like my top 10. If I were to make a top 10 of all these Hoyas, it probably wouldn't make the list. Next is Hoya species affinity Burtonay. I think it's Burtonay. I really, really, really like this one. This one would make my top 10. You are probably aware I'm a real big sucker for velvety fuzzy leaves, and this one I have heard is very velvety, very soft to the touch, very fuzzy, so I am just all about that. Next is Hoya carnosa nova ghost. This one I think is prettier than the gray ghost. I really like the silver leaves. Not like imperative that I get it in my clutches right now. I'd like to have it someday though, and once again like experiment with it, but it's another one where I'm like, I don't know how easy that's going to be to take care of. It seems like it might be a little fickle, but maybe not. Maybe because it is just a carnosa, and I find carnosas easy to take care of, so I don't know. Next is Hoya caudata gold. I have seen the silver version, and I prefer the gold. I've just seen pictures of like the new baby leaves coming in very coppery and bronzy looking, very gold looking. I don't know if it like also sun stresses to gold. I don't know like a ton about this one, I'm not gonna lie. I don't even know like in comparison to my Caudata Sumatra, I don't know how different they would look, but like I might actually, like if I could trade my Caudata Sumatra for the gold, I might honestly prefer it just based off of the few pictures that I've seen. Next is Hoya chingungensis. I think that this one is adorable in a hanging pot. It just has such tiny leaves with like compact growth. I don't know what the blooms look like on this one. I'm not at the point in my life right now where I care too much about collecting Hoya for the blooms. So far I've only ever gotten one of my Hoyas to bloom, so I don't feel like I should start collecting them for their blooms. Yeah, I'm just like a really big like Hoya foliage collector. I feel like 90% of the time that's what I'm gonna see coming from the plant is their foliage, and their blooms are just a bit more rare. So personally, I just collect them for their foliage, but yeah, I think that this one has very cute foliage is what I'm trying to say. Another one that has really cute foliage is Hoya clemenciorum. I think that this one is like totally bizarre, wild looking. Like it has such thick, pronounced veins and like the undulated sides, kind of like a caudata has like the undulated sides. I love plants that look like they've been eaten off of. Specifically Hoya, but like, yeah, just plants in general, I guess. I think it has really fantastic looking foliage. I'm pretty sure that it can size up pretty big as well. I think that there are ones that can sunstress like a burgundy color kind of, and those are really pretty too. But yeah, I really like the green one. Next is a very, very common Hoya, and that is just Hoya compacta. I have a outer variegated Hoya compacta, and I don't have just a solid green one. I don't feel like my variegated compacta grows like that slowly, but I've heard that the green compacta grows really fast, and I would love just like a big hanging pot of it. I actually got given a compacta cutting, and it croaked before it decided that it wanted to push out any kind of a root system. So that was really sad. Next is a newer one to the list, and that is Hoya Lee Prism. I think that Hoya Lee, just like the plain green one, is very cute, but the Lee Prism is adorable to me. I just really like the little leaf shape, and I like how the variegation can go pink, and yeah, I think it's really cute. Next is Hoya manipurensis, and I think this one is definitely on my top 5, top 10 Hoyas. For some reason it reminds me of moose antlers, like the inner, I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying. It doesn't look like a moose antler, but when I look at that Hoya, I think of a moose antler for some reason. It doesn't make a lot of sense. I just think it's so cute and small, and I love cute and small Hoyas. I love my Hoya rotundiflora, and it reminds me of that. I'm so obsessed with Hoya with unique leaf shapes. I want all of the unique shaped Hoyas. Next is Hoya meredithii or meredithii. I'm not really sold on this one. I think that I heard about this one through Miro on Basie Plants. It has really, really cool large leaves. The color is beautiful. I don't know how 100% sold I am on it though, and also I feel like it would take up a lot of room. So I do think it's pretty. I really do love dark veination, but the scales could go either way. This may or may not still be on my wish list by tomorrow. Next is Hoya Nicholsoniae New Guinea Ghost. I really like this one way more than the Nova Ghost, which is on my list. I think the New Guinea Ghost is adorable when it sunstresses. I think it's really cool that it doesn't sunstress pink. It sunstresses almost a lavender purple, which is like, I've never seen a Hoya go purple. Typically, any Hoya that sunstresses that has like a silvery or even just like a variegation to it, it sunstresses pink. This one is definitely higher up on the list for me. And the next two I'm just going to clump together. It is Hoya polyneura inner variegated and outer variegated. I don't like the Brogette variegated one. I really only like these two. But I am obsessed with my just normal green polyneura. It grows really, really insanely fast, like scarily fast. And if I just had like a single node cutting of both of these, I would be so happy. I would like pot them all together, I think. Just have like a solid green inner and outer variegated, just all in one big pot, and it would just be so bushy and beautiful. I like both of them. Next up is Hoya serpens, which is a cutie little tiny leafed Hoya. I love this one because it has like a little bit of a bumpy texture to it, and it's so fuzzy. It looks like it would be kind of velvety and soft. I really like tiny Hoya leaves. It's really funny because I either like really large Hoya leaves or really tiny Hoya leaves. I just personally am a very big fan of snakes and reptiles and amphibians and all of that world, so the serpens is just super cute to me. It really does look just like cute little snake heads. Serpens is way high on my Hoya list. By the way, I don't think I would ever actually rank this list because that would take me so long, and I am so indecisive and I change my mind so often that it would just not work out for me. I feel like it'd be more stressful for me than anything. Next is Hoya sigillatus, which I love the variegation on, the little patterning on the leaves. It kind of reminds me of, which there's so many different types of sigillatus, but I like the oval, more round leaf ones compared to the ones that are kind of more shaped like pubicalyx. The more like compact, ovally round leaves on sigillatus is the kind of sigillatus that I personally want. I think that they kind of remind me of my rotundiflora if it had like a different pattern to it, which I am so obsessed with my rotundiflora, as everyone's aware. So I kind of just want like every plant that reminds me of it. Next is Hoya sunrise, specifically for the reason of I want to sun stress one. I don't think that they're cute at all unless they're sun stressed. I also wouldn't want a very big one. I already have my Hoya lacunosa royal flush, which I feel like is somewhat similar. It doesn't sunstress quite as red as the sunrise does, but yeah, I don't really want like a huge big pot because I think that they grow like pretty prolifically, like pretty fast, so I'd be like chopping it back quite a lot. But I think to have like a really tiny one would be super cute, just like some bright red leaves on it. Next is Hoya thomsonii or Thomsonii splash, whichever one I am ever able to get my hands on first. I don't want both, I just want one or the other. To me, it doesn't really make that big of a difference as to which one. I think that they're both really cute, and I love the texture of the leaves, the fuzziness, the shape, all around, absolutely adorable. 2 thumbs up for me. Next up is Hoya undulata, which is once again another one that looks like it has just like torn up, eaten on, undulated leaves. I really just love a Hoya leaf that just looks like rough and tough, but like in a really beautiful way. I don't know if that made any sense. I don't know. I'm a sucker for undulated leaves as much as I'm a sucker for velvety leaves and dark foliage. It also has really wild looking blooms. I don't think I've ever seen a Hoya with this kind of a shape of bloom. Like super crazy, like spiky looking blooms. This one actually was pretty tied for Hoya chicken farm for me, which I am really considering adding to my list because I do love the foliage. I love how variegated the foliage can get, but on top of that, it does have very beautiful blooms because I do love that like orangey rust color, and it just has really, really cute blooms. The last Hoya, we've finally gotten to the last one, is Hoya verticillata black margin. This one is a very cute little Hoya to me. I really like, same as the Bertonier has the dark banding around the edges, so does the black margin. I feel like I can't keep saying like, oh, I'm a sucker for this, I'm a sucker for that, but when it comes to Hoya, another trait that I really fall for is black margins. Same as like the Hoya Wyetii. I'm not sure if the green Wyetii, but I know that the Wyetii tricolor has the black margins on the outer edge. I like that it has first of all, a very specific shape. It's almost kind of like a heart shape, and it has dimpling in it, kind of similar to a Chelsea or a Crinkle 8, but not like quite as much. Yeah, I don't know, I think it's really cute, and I know somebody that's selling some cuttings of them. Actually I know somebody that's selling cuttings of many of my wishlist Hoyas, so wink wink nod nod, that might be a little plant haul coming this spring. Okay, on to other plants. A variegated Maranta. I think that this plant's super cute. When it gets a lot of sun, it gets really, really variegated. I like how it almost kind of looks like a Maranta rabbit's foot. I actually had one of these. I had a little two-leaf cutting, a little rooted two-leaf cutting. I had it for about 2 weeks, and the whole time I had it, it just declined, declined, declined. It did not like being shipped, I think is what it was. And so I won't ever buy one online again and like have it shipped because I think it was just way too stressful for it. If I can't find one like actually in person that I can just buy from a plant shop or something, I'm not gonna get another one because that was very sad. Next is just a Maranta lemon lime. I want to put it in with my red Maranta. I think that like a mixed pot would be really cute, but now that I'm thinking about it, maybe not. Maybe I should just keep them separate. I don't know. I don't know how good that would look, but yeah. I have the red one and I love it. For me personally, it's super easy to take care of. I think that my high humidity in my room also plays like a massive part in it being easy for me to take care of. Yeah, I feel like if the red one is that easy, then how hard could others be? Next is a Monstera Tycon, and I'm not going to talk about this much because everybody knows what a Tycon is and knows all about them, and they get too big for my room and I'm sad about it, so I don't want to talk about it anymore. But I want to get one day. Next is a very uncommon one called Passiflora trifasciata, and I think this one looks like raptor tracks, like the dinosaur. um to me it just looks like velociraptor footprints, and I am really obsessed with that. I know a lot of people call it like the duck foot plant or something like that. They think that it looks like a duck footprint, but me, I'm just like, that is a raptor footprint. I've seen this one at Steve's Leaves, but every time that I like get put on the like notify me if it like comes back in stock, every single time I've done that, before I can even click the link, it goes back out of stock. I actually did see one in person a month ago at the plant shop that I go to, and it wasn't for sale. Hers was doing like really poorly though. It made me kind of sad to look at it, but I was just like, wow, I'm looking at this plant that I've wanted for so long. It was my first time seeing it in person, and now I'm just like, it's just like really great when you see a wishlist plant in person for the first time, and then you get to like decide like, do I still like it or not? Because a lot of times like plants give me a totally different vibe seeing it in person versus seeing it online. Sometimes I want a plant like really, really bad, see it in person, don't want it anymore, don't vibe with it. But this one, I was just like, is so freaking cute. Even though it's like croaking right now, hers was like dying. It was still really cute, so I definitely know that I want one really, really bad. Next is Philodendron medium silver. This one is just so cute, 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 cute. It has the silveriest leaves, and I love that it's called the Spider-Man plant. That's just like so fun to me because I'm also like a super big Marvel nerd. So yeah, I kind of just, I don't know. I want it for that because every time that I see this plant, it makes me think of Spider-Man. It makes me want it more. It's also just like really, really beautiful, especially growing up a pole once they start to size up and fenestrate. Next is both Philodendron Florida Beauty and Philodendron Florida Ghost. I want both of these very, 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 very badly. Like top of my philodendron list. I want them so freaking bad. They're gorgeous to me, both of them. I'm obsessed with them for different reasons. The Florida Beauty is just stunning. It has just the most marbled, mottled, like, oh, the variegation is so good on it. And then the Florida Ghost just actually reminds me of like cute little like, it reminds me of like rubber hose art, like the rubber hose ghosts, like that cute little ghosty shape. I just want them both so bad. I want them growing up a pole. They're okay when they're trailing. I don't think they look fantastic when they're trailing. I feel like they get like very spindly and kind of like growing all kinds of sorts of different directions. And just personally, I like more uniform compact growth, but that's just me. Next is Philodendron gigas. I kind of want this one just because I am still afraid that my Melanochrysum will revert back into its old ways of pushing out bad growth. So far it hasn't. So far the new leaf, actually I'll show you. The new leaf is growing really well on it. It's got to like turn and face downwards. For some reason it's like facing up. I'm just a little afraid that it's going to start growing poorly again. I've just been wronged by this plant so many times that I kind of want a backup of like a plant that I feel like is better. But gigas just has stunning dark leaves, so velvety, and just has the most gorgeous sheen to it. They get so big, and I love how they hang like straight down and flat. Oh, beautiful. Next is Philodendron Majestic and Mame Silver Cloud. I don't have a particular preference as to which one. They're very, very similar, but also kind of really different at the same time. But so the Majestic has the like velvetiness of the Verrucosum. So I really do like that factor, but I really love the pattern that the Mame gets. So I'm a little iffy on which one I prefer. I don't think I should get both though, because they're so similar. But yeah, maybe I'll just get neither because I can't make up my mind. Next is Philodendron Prince of Orange. I prefer this one out of all of the different newer ones that are coming out, like the Philodendron Orange Marmalade, which is kind of very similar but looks more like a painted lady, and then the Philodendron Macaulay's Finale, I think it's called. It has more red. It's more of kind of like a cardinal color. I just personally really like the OG. Next is Philodendron Serpens, which I am very iffy on being on this list because I love the fuzzy petioles. It has like lime green fuzzy petioles, but I like that the leaf has kind of that snake head shape. But the reason that I'm iffy on it is because it looks or seems kind of harder to keep alive based off of everybody that has one in their collection. Next is Philodendron Splendid, which is another plant that I would like in place of my, or not really in place of my, because I'm not planning on getting rid of my Melanochrysum anytime soon because it is currently doing well for me, but more of like an insurance for my Melanochrysum. If I had a Splendid, I think that I would probably end up preferring the Splendid over the Melanochrysum. And our last philodendron of the list is Philodendron tortum. I actually almost got to get this plant. I went to the plant shop because they posted that they had them for sale for only like 15 bucks or 15 or 20, and it was like a really decently sized tortum too. When I got there, they did not have any left in stock, so I was very sad about that. But I would really like to just grow this up like a really, really thin pole or like a really thin trellis or something, because they're like, it has such thin foliage that I wouldn't want to pair it with like a big thick pole. Next is Rhaphidophora decursiva, I'm not sure, I've heard like every person says it differently. Dragon's tail. I've been wanting to grow this one on a pole for a couple years. I think it's really cute when it has like this certain shape, but once it matures past that, I don't really like it anymore. It also just looks really, really similar to my Baltic Blue though. Next is a strawberry begonia, which is not actually a begonia at all, and I don't know how to say the official name for it, however I will try and butcher it probably. It is a Saxifraga stolonifera, aka strawberry begonia, which is much easier to say. But yeah, it is not actually a begonia, so I don't know how I got that moniker, but it is so stinking cute and just has the most adorable little pink leaves that grow and propagate like a spider plant. like, it's also a really common plant too. Like, I've seen these at the grocery store before, and I just feel like, how do more people not have these? Another pink plant, which looks very similar to this one, I feel like, is a variegated string of hearts. I saw this one picture on Google of a variegated string of hearts sitting next to a string of turtles, and ever since I saw that picture, I've just had this like obsession in my head of I want to own both of those plants and then have them sitting next to each other because they look really cute. They complement each other really well. I already have my string of turtles. I have a bigger hanging pot. It's actually right there. That's my smaller one. And then I have a bigger hanging pot over there that looks like way better than that one does right now. I just need to get my variegated string of hearts now. We are so close to the end. The next little section is succulents. The first one is an Echeveria setosa, and I just love their cutie cute little fuzzy leaves. The next three are Kalanchoe, Chocolate Soldier, Donkey Ears, and Teddy Bear. I really love Kalanchoes. They're so fuzzy and cute. I think the Chocolate Soldier is the one with the cute little brown tips, and then Donkey Ears is more of like a grayish blue color, and then Teddy Bear, I'm pretty sure, is the darkest brown one. It's more of like a tan brown. I'd really like to just get like a large pot and just pot them all up together. I love the look of Kalanchoe. I think they're adorable. And the last succulent is Sempervivium arachnoideum, aka cobweb plant. These are just like so cool, and just they remind me of like Morticia Adams for some reason. I don't know. They're just like, it's like, it literally looks like a spider has just made a web on this little succulent, and I want that. And we're on to our last three plants. The first two are Syngonium mojito and Syngonium panda galaxy. Panda galaxy, I have seen from what I have seen, Panda Galaxy is different from just Syngonium panda. Panda Galaxy is more of like the descriptor for a panda with way more flecking in it, whereas panda is more like sectoral variegation. However, I think that the mojito is just so cool. So the reason why I want both of these is because for about a year and a half now, I've been trying to get 4 Syngonium. I own 2 now. I want to make a really massive, like a Frankenpot of Syngonium albo, which I own, Syngonium 3 Kings, which I own, and now I just have to get Syngonium mojito and Syngonium panda galaxy, and I want to put all 4 of those in a really large pot and just have like a crazy mixed pot of these really stunning Syngoniums, and I think it's gonna look really cool and really interesting. And the very last plant to wrap up my massive plant wish list is Taka, I think it's Taka Batflower. This has been a plant I have wanted since I started owning plants. Little teenager Grace has wanted this plant for so long. The foliage is pretty boring. It reminds me of just like a normal green peace lily, but the flowers are the coolest flowers I have ever seen, probably literally ever. Foliage gets like really freaking big. But like, I would do anything for this plant. I would give this plant whatever space it needs. Like, you can have a whole freaking room to yourself. If you push out these super cool flowers for me, I would do anything for you. And that is the end of our list. If you honestly stuck around this whole video all the way to the end, thank you so much for watching. I really wanted to get my list out there and share it with everybody, because anytime I do have like a plant haul or something and I get to knock like some of these plants off my list, I really just wanted it to be like that shared experience of that same excitement of like knowing how much it means to me that I actually got to get a wish list plant. But yeah, I know a lot of people don't really make plant wish list videos like this where they just talk about 60 some odd plants that they want to have someday. So if you stuck around, thank you so much. I hope that I was able to show you some really cool plants that you had never heard of before. That's why I love watching plant wish list videos. I actually always wish that people made their lists longer when they make wish list videos, because I want to learn about plants that I haven't ever seen before, plants I haven't ever heard of before. So that was also kind of my like driving factor for wanting to just share and put out my entire like lifelong wish list for you guys, so I can hopefully do that for you. And if you saw a plant that I talked about that you now want to put on your wish list, I would love for you to tell me what plant that was, and I would love to hear about your own personal plant wish list if you want to write it down in the comments. I would love to know what you think about some of the plants on my wish list, if you would pick something different, why you would pick something different, what you do or don't like about some of the plants that are on my wish list. I would just love to have that conversation. I love talking about plants, and clearly I hope that you enjoyed, and I hope that you were able to discover some new plants along with me. That would make me so happy. I just love sharing plants with people and sharing the plant you love, and yeah. Thank you so much for watching. And don't forget that the link is in the description to my list if you would like to look at it. And also the link to my Instagram is in the description as well. I so hope that you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!